Okay, so does anyone have any issues from earlier? Okay, if not, it's round 2 for today. So maybe today we'll do the breath. Yep, breath meditation. Actually, there are many types of meditation, so we just stick to a few first. Familiarize with a few. So find a comfortable sitting posture. Make sure the back is upright and the rest of the body relaxed. Okay, and once we are physically sort of set in, then we can do a bit of mental adjustment. So we kind of use the 4 elements, sensations, mindfulness of the body. Whatever sensation appear, we wish them well and happy. So you make peace with the sensations, we don't struggle, no fighting. So always the same 3 main ingredients. First is the evidence. We call it right mindfulness, so use mindfulness of the body, 4 element sensations, so there's no imagination, totally grounded on this element. And next we use the right thought, which is the labeling. We wish the sensations well and happy. And we have the right effort, which is the repetition. Every sensation appear, that's a new contact. And new contact means new conditions for clinging and craving. So every contact means you need to generate the right thought to prevent this craving and clinging. So in this practice, there's only skillful thinking or unskillful thinking. So skillful thinking needs to be intentional. Unskillful thinking is inbuilt, and all the while it's there. No effort required. So the more we wish those sensations well and happy, and make sure we are not disturbed or too disturbed by bodily sensations. We are at peace with them. And once you are relatively calm, then you can pick the area of attention where you want to feel the in and out breathing. So you can choose a small point, like below the nostril, above the upper lip, or any point of your choice where you can feel the in-out breathing, or you can choose a bigger area like the entire body, which require more skill, or you can even choose open area, open area awareness, which requires more skill. So once you have picked the area of attention, your breath body, then we just have to determine to stick with it, because in order for the mind to sort of go to concentration sort of smoothly, it has to be without much distraction. So try not to change around once you select a particular point. And once you determine the breath body, we are going to observe the in-out breathing of that area. Every inhalation, wish the breath well. Exhalation, wish the breath happy. So similarly, this is the minimal rate of reflection. Anything slower than that, there's high chance of drifting off. Or if your mind is more sensitive, maybe one inhalation you can feel multiple changes in the elements, then you go for the higher count. And the more we generate this thought of non-anger, and the craving of aversion should reduce. We can observe the state of mind before, after, the mind with craving and a mind a mind with aversion and a mind without aversion. So that's part of mindfulness of mind states. And if your mind is quite settled down, then we're going to reflect on impermanence. So same evidence, in and out breathing, and the labeling we change to any word or phrase associated with impermanence, and we keep on repeating. And we can observe a state of mind, a mind with greed, a mind without greed, before, after. What's the transition like? Keep on reflecting on the impermanence of the breathing, and observe how this craving subside or settle down. So the mind should settle to a point where the rate of settling is very negligible, and we call this the stability point. So we can steady the mind by reflecting on the impermanence of the breathing. And at the meantime, at the sidelines, we take note of this state of mind, what's the emotion, and also optional the location of this mind. So the area where you feel the in and out breathing, that is one kind of mind, the attention. And the other kind of mind, another location, would be the settling of craving formations. Where does craving form? Where's the source? And when it reduces, it goes like closer to the source. So there's always active investigation, discernment investigation. Okay, so we make sure that we fulfill two criteria. First criteria is the mind is calm and settled due to impermanence and detachment. And the second criteria is that we take note of the state of mind, mainly the emotion, and if possible the location. So at this point of time, the baseline emotion is probably very bland, nothing unique at this point. So that this state of mind is no jhanas, but maybe a bit of vipassana. So whenever you're ready, then you can let go of this mind, just like letting go of a balloon. And once you release the mind, there's no need to exert or push. Just observe any change in the emotion, and if possible, the shape of the mind. Let the mind evolve naturally by itself. And once you notice a change in the emotion from something bland to something more pleasant, and that's the new state of mind, this indicator for the first level of concentration. So you take note of this emotion and the impermanence of the breathing for these craving formations to settle down. So the Dhamma is always inviting one to investigate, come and see. So you always need to investigate these four foundations of mindfulness. How does craving affect stress or lack of stress? So if there's any distractions, no worries, just come back to rowing the boat, continue the momentum or carry on the momentum. Impermanence of the breathing, and observe the state of mind. Okay, and if your mind is quite settled down, then we can familiarize ourselves with the first level of concentration. Emphasis is on the impermanence of the breathing, and at the sidelines we take note of the state of mind, mainly the emotions, and if possible the shape of the mind. So this time around there is 3 locations. Area of attention on the breathing, that's one point. The settling of craving, that's another location. And the first level of concentration, a concentrated mind will also have a certain form, a certain shape. That's why it's called form concentrations. But we cannot feel, never mind. Main thing is the impermanence of the breathing and able to discern the jhana factors, which are the emotions. So at any point of time, if the tension increases, that means there's craving. So that is indicator of wrong view. So always mindful of impermanence and detachment, make sure the tension is settled down. Okay, so make sure we fulfill the two criteria. First criteria is that the mind is calm and settled down due to impermanence and detachment. So we always place like right view and right thought above. And at the sidelines, we take note of this emotion, the second criteria. So in the first level of concentration, in theory, there are 4 factors: joy, happiness, initial thinking, sustained thinking. So the same thing, if you cannot differentiate all the 4 factors, just take note, okay, this is a pleasant emotion. You can just take it as a whole package. But the main thing is remember this emotion. Okay, once you have the 2 criteria, whenever you're ready, then you can let go of the mind, just like letting go of a balloon. And once you release the mind, you observe any change in the emotion, and if possible, the shape. And if you experience this joy and happiness, get more clearer, more clarity, and that would indicate another state of mind. So this is the second level of concentration, and due to the disappearance of this initial and sustained thinking. So now I take note of this joy and happiness and the impermanence of the breath for this craving to reduce. For those who are settled down, then we can familiarize ourselves with the second level of concentration. Emphasis is on the impermanence of the breathing. And at the sidelines, we take note of the emotion, which is this joy and happiness. and optionally the shape of the mind. Emphasis is on the impermanence of the breathing, so that's like the anchor, the stick that holds the wild animal. So the wild animal are the other phenomenon. And the rope tying to the animal is basically being aware of the state of mind. So make sure we fulfill the two criteria. First criteria, the mind is calm and settled due to impermanence and detachment. Second criteria is that we've taken note of the state of mind. So in theory, the second level of concentration just has two factors, joy and happiness. So there's no more initial and sustained thinking, a kind of thought cluttering process. And the same thing, you cannot differentiate the different factors. Just remember this emotion. And whenever you are ready, then we can let go of the mind, let go of the second level, just like letting go of a balloon. And once we release the mind, we observe any change in the emotion and optionally the shape. And if you experience a different pleasant emotion, that's due to the disappearance of joy. So now it's left with happiness. So now we take note of this happiness and the impermanence of the breathing for the craving to go down. And if the mind is quite settled down, then we can familiarize ourselves with the third level of concentration. Emphasis is on the impermanence of the breathing. And at the sidelines we take note of the state of mind, mainly the emotion, and if possible the shape of this level of concentration. let's say we fulfill the two criteria, the mind is calm due to impermanence and detachment, and the second criteria, we've taken note of the state of mind. So in theory, the third level has two factors. First one is happiness, and second one is equanimity. But this equanimity is contaminated with this happiness, so it'll be more obvious in the next level. Okay, so whenever you're ready, then you can let go of the third level of concentration, just like letting go of a balloon. And once we release the mind, we observe any change in the emotion, and if possible, the shape also. Okay, let's say the happiness is gone and you're left with this neutral and refreshing or alert kind of experience, then that would be equanimity of the fourth level. So we're going to take note of this equanimity and the impermanence of the breathing for the craving to go down. So the more mindfulness one has, then it's easier to let go. So if a person has the, let's say, a better quality product, then they do not want the lousier quality product. So if you have a higher state of mind, it's easier to let go and the mind should settle down faster. And if, let's say, the mind is calm, then we can familiarize ourselves with this fourth level. Emphasis is on the impermanence of the breathing, and at the sidelines we take note of this emotion, this equanimity, and optionally the shape of this fourth level. Okay, so we make sure we fulfill the two criteria. The mind is calm and settled due to impermanence and detachment, and we take a note of the emotion of this equanimity. And for those who can feel the shape, then that's the form concentrations. If we were to go further, which is the formless concentrations, then there won't be any kind of shape. So whenever we're ready, then we can let go of this fourth level, just like letting go of a balloon. And once we let go of the mind, once we release the mind, we observe any change in the emotion or experience. And once the equanimity is gone, you get a kind of blankness or spaciousness. Then we call this the perception of infinite space. And we're going to take note of this experience and also the impermanence of the breathing for the craving to go down. If the mind is quite settled down, then we familiarize ourselves with this infinite space. Emphasis is on the impermanence of the breathing, and with the sidelines we take note of this infinite space. So this would be very similar to the compassion combined with impermanence. once we fulfill the two criteria, mind is calm and settled, and we have this experience of this infinite space, or remember this experience, and whenever we are ready, then we can let go of this perception of infinite space, just like letting go of a balloon. And once you release the mind, you observe any change in experience. And if the space now is being filled up by something else, filled up by this fullness or awareness, then we call this the perception of infinite consciousness. And we're going to multitask again, take note of this experience and the impermanence of the breath for the craving to go down. Okay, if let's say the mind is quite settled down, then we can familiarize ourselves with this perception of infinite consciousness. Emphasis is on the impermanence of the breathing, and at the sidelines we take note of this experience. So this state of mind is very similar to the one we combined appreciative joy with impermanence. And once you have the two criteria, whenever we're ready, the mind is calm and settled, and we've taken note of this emotion, this infinite consciousness. And whenever we're ready, then we can let go of this state of mind, let go of this infinite consciousness, just like letting go of a balloon. And once we release the mind, we observe any change in the experience. And if the infinite consciousness starts to disappear, then that will indicate a different state, this perception of nothingness. And we're going to take note of this experience and the impermanence of the breathing for the craving to go down. Yeah? So as long as still craving formations and craving still can subside, that means it's still not the total emptiness through cessation. And if your mind is quite settled down, then we can familiarize ourselves with this perception of nothingness. Emphasis is on the impermanence of the breathing. And the sidelines, we take note of this experience. So this one should be similar to the sublime state of equanimity combined with impermanence. Okay, and once we fulfill the two criteria, mind is calm, and then you take a note of this experience, or remember this experience of this nothingness. Whenever you're ready, then you can let go of this mind, just like letting go of a balloon. And observe any change in experience. And if you experience something very volatile or confusing, as though it's appearing, not disappearing, like there, not there, so this confusing experience is called neither perception nor non-perception. Equally confusing name. So you can take note of this experience and the impermanence of the breath, or impermanence of this state of mind, or the craving to go down. Continue to be mindful of impermanence. And remember the state of mind. And this is supposedly the highest formless concentration, or the age of samsara, age of the realms of existence, or the highest plane of existence. And to test yourself, is there anything higher beyond that? If you wish, you can let go of this mind and see what happens. And one may experience like falling out of existence. And this fall is tug of war again. You need to maintain the fall, go against the stream. So there is a new dimension, new so-called state of mind beyond the plane of existence. And you need to keep rowing the boat. So I leave it to you to see how far you can go across. Now it's 10:10.